Hi, today I'm going to show you how to document caesarean section delivery. This is so that it creates a note about the caesarean section, but it also brings the information through to the discharge summary. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully you can see PowerChart. I've already logged into a test patient, and you'll see that I've landed on their obstetric workflow. I need to go ahead and document the caesarean section delivery. So I'm going to navigate over here to the menu, and then I'm going to select Assessments and Fluid Balance. In Assessments and Fluid Balance, I would like to access the labour and delivery band. And then I'm going to scroll down to select the maternity caesarean section. Any assessment within Assessments and Fluid Balance is completed in the same way. You first start by double-clicking in this top blue column. You'll see that the date and time have been entered automatically based on now. But if you wanted to document this retrospectively, you can right-click and insert a different date and time. Perhaps you were about to document it and got called away, and you'd like to go back and say that you want to document it at 6 o'clock. So I've adjusted that time, and it has now added a column for me for 6 p.m. Again, I'm going to double-click in the blue bar at the top. This has activated the whole column and helps me move between each cell quickly without having to use my mouse every time. There are some conditional questions, and a conditional question is signalled by this diamond with a downward arrow. Once I've selected the answer for that conditional question, you will see that a number of other questions opened up. Anything in yellow is a mandatory field and it is required for reporting, but please work your way down completing all the appropriate fields. So I'm going to document this person has had a grade 2 caesarean section, and the decision for caesarean section was made at 4:30 today. I'm going to document that consent was obtained and the name of the responsible consultant. If for any reason the responsible consultant is not listed, perhaps they're a locum or their name is not, you can't find it, you can document it here as free text. If I'm the primary operator, I would document in here. And if there was an assistant, I would document that in here. Again, these are just free text boxes. Because it's a grade 2 caesarean section, I'm going to document that the consultant was notified and that the time that the consultant was notified was at 4:40. The consultant's present wasn't requested in this occasion, and now it's going to ask me to document the primary indication for caesarean section. So in this situation, I'm going to document that it was an intrapartum breach, and select breach presentation as a secondary indication. Labour wasn't obstructed and I didn't use a fetal pillow. Knife to skin was at 1700. And knife to uterus at 1708. It's now going to ask me to enter some details about the baby. So the baby was delivered 1712 and the cord was clamped at 1713. Presentation and delivery was breech, and it was a manual delivery with no need for forceps. normal coloured liquor, and the placenta was delivered at 17. Complete the appropriate fields. You can see that these fields here have that conditional symbol on again. If I'd selected something other than normal, it would have opened up an extra question for me to document the details. In this case, because it's normal, that question hasn't appeared, which has just been a bit quicker to get through the list. You can tell I'm not an obstetrician, so if I'm picking some random choices, please forgive me. Again, if I'd selected yes for complications, I'd have been asked to document what those complications were. Did not perform a sterilisation. And didn't close the fat, and then did proline for the skin. Oops, scrolled down a little too far. I've not inserted any drains, but again, if I'd inserted drains, you'd have the opportunity to list what type of drain they were in here and where I've added that drain. Documentation about the urine after caesarean section. Documentation about observations and whether you need hourly urine. Did not use a vacuum dressing. And maybe they've had some co-mox. Took cord blood because it was a grade 2 caesarean section. And you can document the items in here. Again, if you'd selected no for cord blood, those questions wouldn't have appeared. It's going to ask me to document if the lady is suitable for a VBAC in next pregnancy. If there's any additional information, it's a free text box here. I didn't need to give any of these items, so I can continue past that. But if I gave symptometrin, I can document that I gave symptometrin. Catheter can be removed in 12 hours. Postnatal day to remove sutures is going to be day 5. No blood transfusion. Yes for thromboprophylaxis. And that is for standard protocol. No postnatal antibiotics and no further information that's required in here. So I'm going to go ahead and push because I've completed everything I need to complete, and I do that using this green tick here. You'll see that the items that were in purple before are now in black. That just means that those have been verified and added to the record so other staff can see them. If you never signed it, nobody would ever see that entry. I'd now like to go and make a note of that caesarean section, so I'm going to navigate to the page. So in this situation, I'd like to document it in a caesarean section note. So I'm looking at all items at the moment, and I'm going to scroll down to the caesarean section note. To make it quicker, you can choose to add the maternity ones as favourites, and you do that by clicking on this star here. You'll see now if I click on the Favourites tab, I now have the caesarean section note in my favourites, which is quicker than looking through that big list. I'd like to use the maternity caesarean section note. And I'm going to click OK. What it's doing now is pulling through the information that I entered in the assessments and fluid balance section. So you can see as I scroll through this note, all of that information that I entered in assessments and fluid balance is pulled through automatically, including all of the times. And because I entered it in assessments and fluid balance, not only does it pull through to the discharge summary, it pulls through to the reporting dashboard and also enables us to audit in the future if required. If assessments and fluid balance wasn't used to document the caesarean section and instead you wrote directly into a progress note, this information would not be auditable. If you're happy with your note, once you've checked it, you can go ahead and sign it. If though you sort of look at it and think, oh my goodness, I didn't write something and I'd like to add something to a section, you can choose to insert free text by selecting the section you'd like and then clicking on this down arrow. This has now added some free text into that section. I'm going to go ahead and sign and submit this document. Again, it's just going to check that I'd like it as a maternity cesarean section note, which I do. And then I'm going to click sign. You'll see that maternity cesarean section note now exists within our documentation list. And if I wanted to review it, when I'm on a ward round reviewing the lady, I can do a single click and the note would appear here on the right hand side. Review the details. That's all for this video. Again, if you've got any questions, please do get in touch.